Yorkshire Calendar Summer Special with John Shires and Gaynor Barnes.
Hello and welcome to Calendar Summer Special this Wednesday, the 6th of August.
Yes, tonight's top story. A veteran aid worker from Yorkshire murdered on his latest mission.
He believed he was doing it for God. He would have died with praise on his lip. He would have given them the £50 gladly. I can't believe that they had to kill him for it.
The race against time as baby Eleanor waits for a life-saving transplant.
The big money on-off transfer finally goes through as Paolo joins the Owls.
Big crowds bake in the sun at the annual Bakewell Show.
And calling it a day, the town crier finally retiring at the age of 80.
Well, we start tonight with the news that a Yorkshire aid worker has been killed and his wife seriously injured in an attack by robbers in Eastern Europe. It happened as Michael Pollard, a pastor at an evangelical church in Bradford, and his wife Jo rested in a lay-by in a remote Hungarian town.
It was the latest of many visits the couple had made to the area in the last 30 years, giving up their own time to take much-needed supplies to orphans and many needy people. Tonight, as Jo Pollard awaits surgery in a Hungarian hospital, 3 local men are in custody and are reported to have confessed to the attack. Back in Yorkshire, friends and family are trying to make sense of why a man had to give his own life while trying to give so much to others. Michelle Hawkins reports.
They had come here to help people, to deliver food and clothing and medical supplies to the people of Eastern Europe. But it was here that Michael Pollard was to meet his death at the hands of bandits. The couple were attacked in their car by 3 robbers who clubbed Mr. Pollard to death and left his wife with serious injuries. The robbers stole £50. The Pollards had stopped in a lay-by at the town of Nuragaza, northeast of Budapest, en route from Hungary to Romania.
I mean, everyone was very shocked to hear of this. It's such an unusual event. Obviously, you know, we were very concerned for the family and very concerned for Mrs. Pollard's well-being, particularly as the Hungarian press broke it very early, and we were very much wanted to get in touch with the relatives in the UK before news was broken to them through the press.
Curtains were drawn at the family's home in Baildon in West Yorkshire today. The couple's 2 daughters and son are expected to fly out to be with their mother. Mr. Pollard was an elder at the Emmanuel Evangelical Church. Among their cargo were Bibles. It was God's will, they told friends, that they should go on missions and spread the word.
Very shocked. The people at church, well, they'll be devastated. People that really knew the Michael that he was, you know.
He's been harassed at border patrols, he's come close to being arrested, and he had no fear. If anything happened to him, he believed he was doing it for God. He would have died with praise on his lip. He would have given them the £50 gladly. I can't believe that they had to kill him for it.
The family's missionary work with the orphans and disadvantaged often brought them into danger. In 1986, the couple and their 3 children were held at gunpoint on the Romanian border. Aid organisations say volunteers should take precautions.
Don't go out alone, particularly after dark. If you've got radios, keep in radio contact with designated times to radio in, so people are expecting that. Let people know where you're going, when you're going to be back, so they know whether they need to raise the alarm or not.
Sovelia Pollard, who's known as Jo, will undergo surgery for a fractured jaw and nose tomorrow. At home, those that knew them will be praying for a family who dedicated their lives to others.
Well, joining us now from our Hull studio is Andrew Peckett, who we saw in that report, a close family friend of Mr. Pollard. He's travelled overseas with him on a number of occasions. And did Michael ever say he was worried about the dangers when he was travelling abroad?
Yeah, he had talked about it occasionally, but he was doing God's will. He was doing God's work, and he believed in helping the people of Eastern Europe. He was in Czechoslovakia when the Russian tanks moved in 1969, and ever since then he's taken aid and relief out to Eastern Europe. He had an affinity with the Eastern European people.
What sort of precautions, if any, did he take against the dangers?
He prayed. I mean, he wouldn't have taken any precautions. He didn't believe in violence. He was the gentlest man you could wish to meet.
Do you think it was likely that he was targeted because he was a foreigner and an aid worker, or was he just unlucky?
I think he was probably just unlucky. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's one of those things that's come about since communism disappeared. A new criminal element has surfaced. It's a different kind of problem to the problems that he was facing 10 years ago.
But he never said that he was worried about the changes in Eastern Europe and something like this might happen?
No, I don't think if it had been that it would have made any difference. He believed that there were people out there who needed the supplies that he was taking out, supplies that were donated by Christians in this country of their own free will, and Mike was just the tool that took them out there.
Well, finally, do you think that this will deter others from making aid missions abroad?
Not if it's God's will. Christians would believe in facing up to the dangers. I can't see it putting anyone off who's doing God's will.
OK, we must leave it there. Thank you very much, Andy Perry.
The family of a baby girl suffering from a rare liver disease say she'll die unless she gets a transplant soon. But the parents of 10-month-old Eleanor Thompson, who's from Liversedge in West Yorkshire, have put aside their own heartache to warn others to look out for signs that their own babies could be ill.
Eleanor would probably not have needed a transplant if her illness had been noticed earlier. Our reporter Katie Oscroft has been speaking to Eleanor's mother about her baby's plight.
We have been told that within about another 6 months she will deteriorate quite markedly, and you know the bottom line is they only give her another year to live from now without a transplant.
It's a bleak prospect, but Samantha Thompson is optimistic that a liver transplant will become available for her little girl. She wasn't warned that when Eleanor was born her jaundice could linger and develop into something much worse.
I had absolutely no idea that the prolonged jaundice that Eleanor was having could mean a serious liver disease. Like you already said, jaundice is a very common, apparently thing that happens to newborn children. 90% of babies have some sort of jaundice. She doesn't really gain weight very well, and so she has to be fed via a nasogastric tube. She has medicines in the morning and at night.
There are regular visits to St James's Hospital in Leeds too, but if and when a donor does become available, Eleanor will be transferred from here to become a patient at Birmingham Children's Hospital, the nearest centre to specialise